Imagine just for a moment that the very person you wish would think of you right now suddenly pauses in the middle of their busy day because your presence gently rises in their mind like a warm memory they can't shake. Imagine that they feel you, miss you, long for you, without you saying a single word out loud. This isn't fantasy. This is the quiet, invisible language of consciousness. And once you understand how to speak it deliberately, you can awaken a magnetic pull so strong that they feel drawn back to you with an intensity they can't explain. This is the power of telepathy as taught through the lens of imagination, the inner world where all connection truly begins. Telepathy is not about forcing, controlling, or manipulating. It's not about reaching into someone's mind and twisting their emotions. It's about understanding that consciousness is one, that you and the person you love are connected on a deeper, unseen level. When you think of them with intention, when you imagine them with love, when you feel the emotion of being deeply missed, that feeling travels, it vibrates, it touches them, and sooner or later, they respond to the pull. You may have noticed moments in your life when this happened naturally. Perhaps you suddenly thought of someone you hadn't spoken to in months, and moments later your phone lit up with their message. Perhaps you felt a tug on your heart and discovered that someone you love had been thinking about you all day. We dismiss these things as coincidences because we're taught to believe only in life what we can see. But the unseen world is far more responsive, far more alive, far more connected than we realize. There is a line written long ago that says, "Ask with belief and it will be done for you." It never said how it would be done. It never said that words were required. It simply taught that belief, inner acceptance, creates results. When you imagine someone missing you with genuine love, you are asking in the invisible realm, and the invisible always shapes the visible. Telepathic connection begins with one simple truth: you must feel before you see. Imagination is not daydreaming. It is creation. It is communication. It is the place where you whisper to the universe and it whispers back to you. If you want someone to miss you intensely, you must first step into the emotional state where you feel cherished, wanted, remembered, valued, and deeply missed. You can't sit in the energy of doubt and expect connection. You can't cling to fear and expect love to flow. The universe responds to your inner mood, not your outer desire. So how do you do this? You begin by softening your heart. You sit in a quiet space, your room, your bed, your favorite corner, and close your eyes. You breathe slowly, gently, lovingly. And then you imagine, not with effort, not with tension, but with ease. You imagine that the person you desire is thinking of you right now. You imagine them feeling the warmth of your presence. You imagine them saying things like, "Why am I thinking about them so much?" or "I miss them." You imagine the emotion, not the words, not the explanation, but the feeling. Feelings are the language of telepathy. Thoughts may scatter in different directions, but feelings go straight to the heart. If you've ever replayed a memory and felt it stronger than an actual moment happening right in front of you, you know how powerful imagination is. It is not pretend. It is experience. And consciousness responds to experience, not effort. Think of a time when you longed for someone, and out of nowhere they reached out. You didn't call them, you didn't text them, but your emotion was so strong that it moved beyond you. That's telepathy. That's the shared field of consciousness. That's the inner speaker that never stops broadcasting. Now imagine directing that power with intention, not out of desperation, but out of love, because love is the highest frequency. It is the one energy that always returns multiplied. There's a quiet truth whispered in spiritual teachings. What you believe in your heart will come to pass. This is not about religion. It is about understanding the nature of consciousness. That they are connected to you, they are. When you believe they feel your absence, they do. When you believe they are pulled to you, they are. Telepathy happens easily when two hearts have already shared an emotional bond. Distance, silence, or separation doesn't weaken it. In fact, it often strengthens it. When you think of someone with love, your energy reaches them. When you imagine them missing you, that feeling gently nudges their consciousness. They may not know why they suddenly feel pulled to you, but they will feel it. Some people fear that imagining someone missing them is somehow manipulative, but love, when pure, is never manipulation. You are not forcing them. You are not controlling them. You are simply tuning yourself to the frequency of connection. You are remembering the truth that you are already one in consciousness. Telepathy is not a weapon, it is a bridge. There is a story told many times of a person who prayed not with words, but with the feeling of the fulfilled desire. They didn't beg, they didn't plead, they felt. And what they felt within became what they saw without. This is the essence of telepathic manifestation. You don't reach outward, you reach inward, and the inward speaks to the world. If you want them to miss you like crazy, don't wait for them to take the first step. Don't stare at your phone hoping. Don't rehearse conversations that haven't happened yet. Instead, go to the inner world where all things begin. See them reaching for you. Feel their longing. Imagine the emotion of being missed. Loved, remembered. Feel it as if it is happening now. Let the warmth of that feeling fill your chest, your breath, your whole being. And here's the beautiful part. You only need to do this for a few moments. Telepathy does not require endless effort. In fact, when you try too hard, you create resistance. The moment you relax and let the emotion wash over you, that is when your signal becomes clear. That is when the connection becomes undeniable. Some people try this once and say, nothing happened. But they forget that the seed does not sprout the moment it touches the soil. It grows quietly, invisibly beneath the surface. And then suddenly, without warning, it breaks into the light. Telepathy works the same way. Once you have imagined it clearly and lovingly, you let it go. You trust that the message has been delivered. You trust that consciousness has heard you. There is a timeless truth. Believe you have received it, and it will be yours. Not will be, but already is. When you imagine them missing you and truly feel it, you have received the feeling. The outer must follow. You may notice small signs at first. A sudden dream, a sudden urge to check your phone, a memory of them rising out of nowhere. These are echoes of the connection you are awakening, and soon you'll see real-world shifts, unexpected messages, chance meetings, sudden warmth in their voice, a pull toward you they can't explain. Your inner world is the cause, the outer world is the effect. Telepathy is not magic, it is not fantasy. It is the natural flow of consciousness when used deliberately. The moment you understand that the person you love is not separate from you in spirit, you stop trying to reach outward and begin reaching inward. And here is the final, most important truth. Love must always be the energy.
Not fear, not insecurity, not loneliness. Love. Pure, gentle, unwavering love.
When you speak from love, the message travels instantly. So sit quietly, close your eyes, feel the emotion of being missed, cherished, and desired. Imagine their heart tugging toward yours. Imagine them feeling your presence like a soft whisper in their mind. And then let the feeling go and trust that it has been received, because it has. And soon, much sooner than you think, they will feel the pull. They will think of you. They will miss you. They will seek you. And they will not even know why the longing feels so strong, only that it does. This is the power of telepathic connection. This is the gentle, loving art of using imagination the way it's always meant to used. And when you master this inner conversation, the outer world cannot help but respond. And as you continue practicing this inner communication, you'll notice something beautiful happening. You begin to feel more confident, more centered, more peaceful within yourself. Because when you learn to influence your reality from the inside, you stop depending on outer circumstances to validate you. You stop waiting for someone else to show you the love you're already cultivating inside. And that inner shift is powerful. It changes the way you walk, speak, think, and even breathe. You begin to realize that telepathy is not only about making someone miss you, it's about remembering your own power. It's about stepping into the truth that your imagination is not a passive place. It's the birthplace of every connection, every relationship, every shift in your world. Nothing in your outer experience is random. Everything flows from consciousness. There's a quiet law working in the background of your life that says, as within, so without. This applies to love more than anything. If within yourself you feel unwanted, your outer world mirrors that. But if within your imagination you feel deeply valued, deeply loved, deeply desired, then the world begins to echo that too. When you imagine someone craving your presence, you begin to embody that worthiness, that magnetism, that soft confidence that naturally draws people in. Think of how many times you've walked into a room and felt someone looking at you before you even turned around. Think of how many times you sensed someone's mood without them saying a word. We already read each other energetically. Telepathy simply sharpens the signal. It makes the inner connection conscious instead of accidental. Some people wonder, what if they don't care about me anymore? What if they moved on? But you must understand something. Consciousness does not disappear simply because circumstances change. Feelings exist in a timeless space. Memories live in a dimension untouched by distance. The bond you shared with this person did not vanish. It simply went quiet. And quiet things can be awakened again with intention. When you imagine someone missing you from a place of love, you aren't forcing them to feel anything unnatural. You are stirring the love that already exists beneath the surface, and are shining a gentle light on the connection that was always there. Even teachings that speak of faith as a mustard seed reveal the same truth. Small inner moments lead to massive outer shifts. Just a few seconds of real, heartfelt imagining can do more than hours of fear-based thinking. The universe does not respond to time, it responds to intensity, sincerity, and emotional clarity. So if you feel yourself overthinking, worrying, doubting, pause, breathe, return to the inner world, return to the feeling, feel their energy, their warmth, their longing. Let that emotion flow naturally. Don't try to direct it, don't try to measure it, just feel it. For telepathy is not a technique, it is a state of being. There is a kind of gentle surrender required, a trust, a knowing that once the inner message is sent, the outer response will come. When you cling, you block the flow. When you trust, everything moves effortlessly. Notice the moments in your day when they come to mind unexpectedly. That is often a sign of reciprocal connection. Notice when you feel a sudden warmth in your chest or a sense of being thought about. These are not accidents. These are the subtle ripples of your inner work returning to you. As you continue, your imagination becomes clearer, your emotions become stronger, your confidence grows, and slowly the invisible bridge between you and the one you love becomes brighter, more active, more magnetic. They begin to feel the tug more intensely. They may start dreaming of you. They may wake up thinking of you. They may feel oddly compelled to check your social media, scroll through your old messages, or revisit memories they thought they had forgotten. And when that pull becomes undeniable, their outer actions will reflect it. But remember this, the goal isn't to chase. The goal isn't to control. The goal is to align yourself with the state where you naturally feel wanted, valued, and missed. When you live in that state, the outer world rearranges itself beautifully. Even ancient wisdom reminds us that the unseen shapes the seen. That what is whispered in the heart is echoed in life. That all things begin in the silence of inner belief. So keep practicing gently, lovingly. Let your imagination become the place where connection is nurtured. Let your heart send the message clear and full of warmth. You miss me. You think of me. You feel me. Not as a demand, but as a natural truth. And soon enough, the energy you are sending out so softly will return to you unmistakably. And as this inner connection strengthens, you may find yourself becoming more intuitive. You'll sense their emotions before they express them. You'll feel when they're thinking of you. You'll notice a shift in the atmosphere around you, as if the space itself becomes more alive with the energy of your bond. This is what happens when you tune yourself to someone with clarity and love. You become receptive not only to your own thoughts, but to the subtle movements of their heart as well. You might wake up one morning with a sudden rush of warmth in your chest, a tingling in your hands, or an unexplainable feeling that someone is pulling on your energy. These moments are not random. They are signs that your telepathic message has reached them, and now their energy is reaching back. You may find yourself smiling without a reason, remembering moments you didn't consciously choose to recall. That's often your inner world syncing with theirs. When you practice this kind of inner focus, you begin dissolving the illusion of separation. Distance no longer feels like a barrier. Silence no longer intimidates you. Time no longer feels like an enemy. Instead, you start experiencing connection on a spiritual level, where everything is instant. Everything is possible, and everything is responsive to your emotional being. There's a shift in the way you carry yourself. Your energy becomes softer but more magnetic. You start radiating a quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need validation, because it knows deeply that love responds to love. People notice this change, sometimes even strangers. You might receive compliments, unexpected kindness, or even attention from others, because when your heart frequency rises, the world feels it. But the one you desire feels it most. Telepathy works best when you're relaxed, when your mind is quiet and your heart is open. Not when you're checking your phone 100 times, not when you're trying to force something to happen. The moment you slip into peace, your energy naturally aligns. You become like a clear channel through which your message flows gently, effortlessly. Think of it like tuning a radio. When the dial is slightly off, all you hear is static, but when it locks into the exact frequency, the sound becomes clear and beautiful. Telepathy works the same way. When you're anxious, desperate, or overthinking, the signal gets blocked. But when you soften your heart, calm your breath, and settle into the feeling of already being connected, the frequency becomes perfect. And this is when the person you love begins to feel you unmistakably. They might get the urge to talk to you out of nowhere. They might think of something you once said and smile. They might hear a song, smell a scent, or visit a place that instantly brings you to mind, and the emotional pull becomes stronger each time. Remember, the mind communicates in images and emotions. The heart communicates in vibration. When both align, your message becomes powerful enough to travel straight into their consciousness. It doesn't matter where they are, what they're doing, or who they're with. Your energy reaches them the moment you feel it sincerely, and the more consistently you practice this gentle imagining, the more natural it becomes. Soon, it won't feel like a technique. It will feel like breathing. A peaceful inner knowing takes root inside you, a knowing that you can influence your relationships without saying a single word, simply by adjusting your inner state. Not because you're trying to bend someone's will, but because you're learning how creation actually works, because you're realizing that love is a language spoken silently but heard clearly, because you're stepping into a deeper understanding of how consciousness connects, responds, and evolves. And as you continue, you'll notice that your own emotional wounds begin to soften. The fear of loss becomes smaller. The fear of being forgotten dissolves. The fear of being unvalued slowly fades away. Why? Because every time you imagine being missed, every time you feel chosen, every time you enter the state where you are loved and desired, you're healing old stories inside you. Telepathy doesn't just help you communicate with another person. It helps you communicate with yourself. It helps you shift the beliefs you carry about love, connection, and worthiness. It helps you rewrite the emotional patterns that once kept you feeling powerless or afraid. And as those inner patterns change, your outer world must respond. This is the unbreakable law of consciousness. What you accept within, you eventually experience without. What you feel internally, you eventually attract externally. What you believe in the quiet of your mind becomes what you live in the noise of everyday life. So every time you close your eyes and imagine them missing you, every time you breathe deeply and feel their presence, every time you send a loving thought their way, you are shaping a reality where connection becomes effortless, where love becomes magnetic, and where they feel your absence so intensely that it pulls them closer and closer to you. And with each passing day, your telepathic link grows stronger, clearer, and more undeniable. As the connection deepens, you may begin to feel moments of synchronicity, those uncanny alignments that seem too perfect to be coincidences. You may think of them, and seconds later you see something that reminds you of them. You may feel a sudden emotional warmth and later discover they were reminiscing about you at that exact moment. These experiences are gentle confirmations that the invisible communication between you two is active, alive, and flowing. This is how energy works when two people are connected on a soul level. Even when the world appears silent on the surface, there is a quiet conversation happening beneath it. You're speaking to them through feeling, and they are responding through intuition. You're sending emotional waves, and they're receiving them without consciously understanding why their thoughts keep circling back to you. You may find yourself walking through your day with a sense of calm expectancy, as if you know something good is approaching. This inner shift is not random. It's your intuition becoming more attuned to the reality you are creating. When you align your emotions with connection, the future begins to echo that connection before it physically arrives. And if doubt comes up, and it sometimes will, you gently return to the feeling, not the outcome, not the hope, not the waiting, but the feeling. The feeling is the real signal. The universe responds to feeling the way a radio responds to frequency. Stay in the feeling and the frequency becomes unbroken. Sometimes telepathy manifests through dreams before the physical world shifts. You might dream of them reaching out, apologizing, embracing you, thinking of you, or remembering something you both shared. Dreams are a powerful bridge because they bypass the conscious mind and speak directly to the emotional self. When telepathic dreams appear, it often means the connection has reached a deeper level. They're feeling you strongly enough that it spills over into the dream state. During the day, you might also sense their emotions more clearly. Even without communication, you'll feel when they're missing you, when they're restless, when they're thinking deeply about you. You might pause in the middle of something because their energy suddenly brushes against yours like a soft breeze. And though you may not have physical confirmation right away, the inner recognition is unmistakable. This inner sensitivity is not your imagination. It's the result of consistent emotional alignment. It's the natural outcome of focusing your energy and intention with clarity. When you radiate a steady signal of love and connection, your inner senses sharpen. You feel more, you notice more, you perceive more. And the person you desire feels more too. They may find themselves becoming nostalgic, replaying old conversations, revisiting memories, or wondering why their heart feels heavier when they think of you. They may feel an unexplainable urge to check your social media or scroll through pictures of you. They may start imagining conversations with you in their own mind. These are subtle signs that the telepathic pull is becoming stronger. Sometimes they might even try to distract themselves, but the more they try, the stronger the thoughts come back. Because once the emotional bridge is activated, energy keeps moving until it finds expression. And that expression often takes the form of communication, an unexpected message, a call, or an attempt to reconnect in some way. But the beauty of this process is that you don't have to chase it. You don't have to push or interfere with the natural unfolding. Your only job is to remain in the emotional state of connection. The moment you slip into fear, you step out of the signal. The moment you slip back into faith, you realign with it. You are learning to guide your external world through your internal world. You're learning that energy is the real language behind every relationship. You're learning that telepathy is not a rare gift. It is a natural ability that awakens when the heart is open and the mind is calm. With time, you become more anchored. Inner knowing. You stop wondering if it's working. You stop questioning if they feel you. You stop worrying about how long it will take. Instead, you begin to trust the process. You begin to trust your own power. You begin to trust the unseen forces moving around you. And when that trust settles in, the energy becomes even more potent. Because trust creates clarity, and clarity strengthens connection. You'll start to notice that even the smallest moments carry a sense of divine timing. A song playing unexpectedly, a familiar scent passing by, a sudden wave of emotion. These small signals are the universe's way of showing you that your inner work is shifting the outer world little by little. And as your inner connection continues to grow, the person you desire becomes more and more aware of your energy, your presence, your absence. It begins to bother them in a soft, persistent way. They start to feel the space where you once were. They start to notice the silences more deeply. They start to feel the longing building within them. Not because you are forcing anything, but because you are awakening what was always there. And as that longing awakens within them, something else begins to shift. And emotional gravity starts pulling them toward you. They may try to brush it off at first, telling themselves they're just being nostalgic, or that it's nothing, or they should focus on other things. But the feeling keeps returning, stronger each time, because what's coming alive inside them isn't just a memory, it's resonance. Your energy is becoming familiar to them again, comforting, warm, and impossible to ignore. It's like a subtle calling that echoes in the quiet moments. When they're alone, when they're about to fall asleep, when they're driving, when they're doing something mundane, and suddenly your face appears in their mind without warning. This is the level of telepathic connection that happens when you consistently align yourself with the emotion of being missed. And the beautiful part is that you don't have to physically do anything to create this response. You don't have to send a message. You don't have to remind them of your presence. And you don't have to insert yourself into their life to be felt. Your inner world is doing the work. Your quiet imagination is doing the talking. Your emotional energy is doing the pulling. This is the secret most people never discover. The strongest impact you make on someone is not through your actions, but through your vibration. Actions can be forgotten, but energy leaves a lasting imprint. And when your energy begins to glow with clarity, love, and intention, the person connected to you cannot help but feel it. You may notice that you start feeling more magnetic, not just to them, but to life itself. Opportunities seem to come more easily. People are drawn to your presence. Conversations feel lighter, more meaningful. This is because when your heart is open and your frequency rises, everything in your reality responds to that shift. You begin to attract from a place of wholeness, not lack. And this wholeness is what your person feels. They sense the shift, even if they don't consciously understand it. Suddenly, you're not just a memory. They feel your growth, your softness, your inner peace. They feel that you are no longer wanting in desperation, but radiating from abundance. And abundance is attractive. Peace is attractive. Confidence is magnetic. The more you cultivate these states internally, the stronger the telepathic pull becomes. You might even notice the energy coming full circle. Moments where you suddenly feel a wave of emotion that isn't yours. A longing, a spark of sadness, a warm rush of affection. Often, this is their energy reaching you. Just as you've been sending a signal, they are beginning to send one back. It might come in small waves at first, like tiny ripples in the water. But if you stay open, you'll feel the connection intensify. You'll sense their thoughts drifting toward you with greater force. You'll feel their desire building, their curiosity growing, their emotions awakening. They might recall something you once said, or feel the urge to revisit an old message, or scroll through your pictures late at night when the world is quiet. This is how the heart speaks, softly, silently, but with undeniable accuracy. Your role in this is not to chase the outcome, but to stay in the feeling, to live as though the connection is already restored, to walk through your day with the calm assurance that they feel you as deeply as you feel them. This assurance is what keeps the telepathic channel open. The more you trust in this inner bond, the more natural everything becomes. You no longer feel the need to question, is it working? Instead, you feel a quiet truth settling inside you, a certainty that does not require proof. That certainty strengthens your vibration, and your vibration strengthens the connection. As the connection strengthens, their longing becomes emotional momentum, a pull towards you that grows harder to resist. What begins as a whisper in their mind becomes a soft ache in their heart. What begins as a passing thought becomes a constant presence. What begins as curiosity becomes a desire to reconnect. Because when the heart speaks, the mind eventually follows. And when the energy aligns, the physical world responds. So, as you stand here now with a clearer mind, a calmer heart, and a deeper understanding of your own inner power, remember this: you were never disconnected. You were never forgotten. You were never without influence. The bond you share with the one you love exists beyond distance, beyond silence, beyond circumstances. It lives in the unseen space where all true connection begins. When you choose love over fear, when you choose faith over doubt, when you choose the inner world over the outer noise, you awaken a force far stronger than words. You remind their heart of what it once knew, and you remind yourself of the power you've always had. So go forward with quiet confidence. Rest in the feeling of being wanted, valued, and missed. Trust that your energy is reaching them in ways you cannot yet see. Trust that your love is stirring something deep within them. Trust that the universe responds to the whispers of the heart long before it responds to the actions of the world. Because the moment you align with the feeling of connection, everything else begins to shift. And soon, the very person whose presence you long for will feel that same longing rising inside them, pulling them back to you in the most natural, effortless, and beautiful way.